Episode 26 of the Interpretation Station is Call to Order. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode. It's going to be in the Wham Bam Thank You Roland format. It's the first time we're going to be covering a Russian text. This was a text I did, I think, last week. It was a statement by Russia at the Human Rights Council Advisory Committee discussing, I think the title was Achievements and Challenges on the Path to Racial Equality on the 16th of February. So I'm going to go down into the corner, put the text up to remind you of what it was all about, and I'll take you through it to explain my rationale for some of my decisions in this text. Okay, so let's begin. So first thing I've highlighted here is sort of как никогда своевременной и актуальной. Well, I mean своевременной, актуальной, you know, it's pretty much a tautology, isn't it? They pretty much mean the same thing. So you can just say here, you know, more timely than ever. Okay. I mean, if you've got the time, more timely and relevant than ever, but I think sort of timely pretty much encapsulates that idea. Now, борьба с любыми проявлениями расизма. So it's good just to know the sort of official wording for this kind of thing. I always like for борьба to go with combating, as opposed to, you know, the struggle with. Somehow the struggle with doesn't sound that, somehow it sounds awkward in English. And then the official sort of phraseology for проявлениями расизма is manifestations. Now, if you want a sort of shortcut for, I guess you can say forms, it's a lot quicker than manifestations. The official wording tends to be manifestations, but there you go, you've got forms as an alternative. And again, this is more official sort of official language here. Связанной с ними нетерпимости, related intolerance. So whenever you get debates on this issue, that's always the sort of official wording used. Okay, связанной с ними нетерпимость, related intolerance. I thought, so moving on, I thought I'd give you here for самого основания ООН, something different from like the creation or the founding. Give you a new word, inception. I quite like that word. So anyway, that just gives you a new idea. Okay, then we've got quite a lot of sort of official wording here of nomenclature of these conventions. So the Convention on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination for Международная конвенция о ликвидации всех форм расовой дискриминации. I mean, I don't think you need, I put brackets around международная. I don't think, if you're in a hurry, I don't think you need to say international. Everyone knows this convention, and you can use the acronym CERD, the CERD. Probably want to say the convention on, you want to probably try and get the full name in first and then use the acronym afterwards, but that's you get cited a lot, this convention, the CERD. And then again, this is here the Durbanska Deklaracja Programa Действий, the Durban Declaration and Program of Action. Again, another instrument which is frequently cited when talking about this kind of subject matter. And again, you can shorten that. You can use the DDPA is the acronym for that. And then here I've actually, what I was just saying in the previous paragraph about проявлениями. So again, here, с различными проявлениями расизма. So I've put here forms as the shortcut. You know, you've used manifestations there. If the speaker's going fast, poor sound, just forms is just fine. Простые люди по всему миру хорошо осведомлены о страшных последствиях. So this is an adjective that I do like to use. Appalling for страшных последствия. It's better than, well, you can say the dreadful or the horrendous, but I like to use it. I like appalling. Okay, we're appalled by this one. And then here we have собранный обществом багаж знания. So I had to think about this a little bit. You know, this собранный, that basically you can skip. You know, this is again one of these Russian gerundives. And I was trying to think, you know, for багаж знания, I was thinking like repositories, arsenals, reservoirs. And so, like, you got the trove, having like a treasure trove of knowledge. So, I mean, that's just one option of several. There are a few others, like I say. A font of knowledge as well. But it's good to have that idea because it's, again, something that the Russians will often invoke that sort of image a lot. Okay, способствовать полному искоренению. So just, this is the standard rendering for способствовать, to contribute to. And again, this is more standard when искоренению расистских идеологий, to eradicate. So this is just sort of standard wording. I think I sometimes say that for способствовать, that you can sometimes just say to help eradicate, because again, help's easier to say, isn't it, than contribute to. But if you can, you want to get contribute to, but if you're in a hurry, help should do the trick. Now this is this last bit here. Националистических настроений. Okay, for the eradication of these nationalistic настроения. So I think you could actually just say nationalism in one word to sum that notion up. Now I've put here a little note. If you want something really fancy for настроение, try proclivities. Okay, so if you want to render the настроение, I think that's quite a good word, proclivities. I think it sounds better than nationalist attitudes. There's a sort of temptation to go towards attitudes always with настроение. That's pretty the first word, at school, when you start learning Russian, when you hear настроение, that's the first sort of word you get taught for настроение, attitudes. I don't think it sounds as good in this context, nationalist attitudes. So, yeah, proclivities as a sort of new word to add to your bagage znanie, if I may say. Okay, the next paragraph, серьезные расхождения. Okay, so I've given you just a couple of synonyms there for расхождения. Differences, divergences. You don't always want to say differences, so something different. Then moving down to here, на фоне всплеска проявления. So a surge, всплеск. Again, here's maybe the first thing that you think is maybe an outburst. You think the plyosk. That's how the Russian image of it, whereas I think in English the image we have is of a surge or a wave. Okay. And then распространение откровенно расистских лозунгов. So I've gone for распространение here, very short, spread. Okay. I mean, there's a sort of higher register word. You could say the proliferation. That would sound very good. But spread is just as good. And, for откровенно расистских лозунгов, instead of just openly racist slogans, blatantly gives that word a bit more oomph, I would say. Okay, многие государства уклоняются от решительных шагов. So, to shy away from, they avoid. So I think that's a very good solution here for уклоняться, to shy away from. And then the next line here, I just give you a bit of a synonym. So негативным явлением. So if you want to, again, just jazz things up a bit, just instead of just going for the calc here is perfectly fine. I mean, yeah, you can say negative phenomenon. But it's good to have adverse as well. Adverse, again, to spice up your language a bit. Okay, now we're coming to the end here. This is a very important phrase, okay, that I've bracketed here near the end. Прикрываясь ссылками на свободу выражения мнения. Now, they use this all the time, the Russians, this phrase. All the time. I think I've done another one. I think there was another one I put up last week in a different context that used the same phrase. And so you need to find something. So I've written down here, crucial expression to be comfortable with in another text. So here, I've said, playing the freedom of speech card. They're always playing the freedom of speech card. So, if you were to hear the full sentence, it would sound a bit like, many states shy away from decisive steps to combat these adverse phenomena, always playing the freedom of speech card. All right, that's one alternative. Now, in a previous text, that you might have also seen, I used skulking behind the pretext of freedom of speech. So as I say, it's up to you to find something that sort of sits comfortably with you. But I would, my advice to you is find an expression that you're happy with for expressing that idea, because the Russians love to invoke, love to refer to that idea. They're basically saying that the Western governments ignore these phenomena at home, and their excuse is always freedom of speech, freedom of or свобода выражения, freedom of expression. Okay, crucial one to know that. And then finally, in the last line, I just give you for лицемерные попытки, a bit of a couple of synonyms for лицемерие. So I usually go for hypocritical, pretty much when I hear лицемерие. But then it occurred to me, if you want, again, something a bit different, two-faced attempts to ignore the obvious. So there you have it. Wham bam, thank you, Roland. Short and sweet. Hope you learned a couple of things there. If you enjoyed the show, please do smash the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. I hope you're enjoying the output. We had our first Wham Bam Thank You Roland episode the other day from Jedi, as I've decided to call the language. Croatian, Serbian, Bosnian. It all comes under Jedi. So hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully, you'll have also seen I've added some Arabic to the Interpretation Station's bow on the LinkedIn group. So I got one of my colleagues to do an Arabic text. People seem to love it. So I'm going to try and persuade him to do more of those, maybe even to do some videos, some commentaries in the Wham Bam Thank You Roland style. So yeah, it's all happening at the Interpretation Station. Keep watching, keep following. Hope you're enjoying it. And all I need to say is that episode 26 of the Interpretation Station is adjourned. See you next time.
The train is now leaving the Interpretation Station.